Okay, yeah, so we're gonna plant these out. I figured out a design how these will work in this raised bed. I have a few years experience working in this space here with a variety of vegetables to see how various vegetables can work together, vegetables and fruits as a matter of fact. We're gonna have some cantaloupe going in today. So I'm gonna plant the cantaloupe and some of these tomatoes. I have this is the cantaloupe, Hale's Best Jumbo melon. It's technically a musk melon, but it's commonly known as a cantaloupe. And then I have three varieties of tomato. They are all heirloom. Okay, a purple Cherokee or a Cherokee purple, a golden Jubilee, and a money maker. That's a big jumbo size. The golden Jubilee, nice yellow tomato, and the Cherokee purple, an old time favorite heirloom. So I'm going to follow the directions here pretty much already know the spacing, but it does, the instructions do indicate for the cantaloupe that they ought to be spaced 4 to 6 feet apart. You can see that. And however, I think I'm just going to give 4 feet because I have a 4-foot space on the edges here. So I'm going to plant the cantaloupe on each corner. I'm going to plant the tomatoes in between. Okay, so that's going to work. So you're going to have a thriller, the tomatoes growing upward, and a spiller. The cantaloupe can vine out and grow all over the place and just spread out as they like. I'll control them to some degree. I may actually trellis some of them upward on the wood I have around here. So there are two ways, planting out, from the pots and from the cell trays. You can do either way as long as the plant is healthy enough, is mature enough. You see how healthy this looks? It's got, 4 inches on it. They say you can start planting out at 2 inches, as long as it has a second set of leaves, or true leaves, after the cotyledons. The cotyledons are the first set of leaves. These are kind of browning and dying off, but that doesn't mean that they're not healthy. It's actually a very healthy plant. Just got burnt from the sun. It's been very hot around here, but as you can see, the second set of leaves here, the true leaves, are very healthy. So you have the cotyledons, those first set of leaves, and then the second set of leaves are called true leaves, and then all the sets of leaves after that. So I'm going to plant out a bunch of these. See, this is looking very healthy here. So I'm going to take the largest of these and arrange them in a nice, beautiful fashion because I have these varieties of colors. I have a purple, a yellow, and a red tomato, and they're going to just grow up tall, maybe 6 feet, and hopefully I'll have a nice variety of colors, some purple, yellow, and red kind of popping in my garden with all the green as well, and all the natural wood colors and soil colors, all the earthy tones, so it should look beautiful as well and feed our family. So let's get started. I'm going to start with the pots, the cantaloupe. I have myself a straight edge. This can be, I don't think I really need it because I can eyeball it because I know the measurements of this bed here and the measurement of the wood. I know it's 8 feet long and 4 feet wide, so all I'll have to do is just kind of eyeball it from there. But just in case I need it, if you don't have a straight edge, you can use, of course, a tape measure. What else do I have with me? Okay, we're also going to label these when we're done. Yes, labeling, keeping track of what's what is very important too. That can really mix things up a lot. And even keeping dates on when you planted what. So I think this is called a butler. This tool has, this fork on it here and this little hoe here, and good, multi-purpose tool. All right, so I'm going to start with this corner right here, right in the corner. Just dig a little hole. I've already prepared the soil. That's another kind of whole tutorial or documentation of itself, like how to prepare the soil. All right, let's start with this really healthy looking one here. Okay, so when taking your plant out of the pot, this is very important. You really want to keep from damaging the roots or the stem or the leaves for that matter. So you're gonna very gently, I have the whole thing between my fingers, I'm barely even touching the plant. The stem is through my fingers. Gently squeezing. These pots are kind of made for this, so very good. They kind of have a nice squishy texture. Now we can see the roots really starting to crawl around, so that's the perfect time to plant these out. They're really making their way around the whole root ball. Easy does it. Gently, easy, try to keep it all together without crumbling too much. Hold everything intact as you brush. I think I want to move it a little closer to the front according to my plan. Let me see, a little closer. There we go, that's a good spot. Yeah, that's better. I want it to spill out the front more as opposed to the side. Alright, looking good. Yeah, so just cover just to the top of the root ball. That's what that's called, the root ball. Root ball. And tap it down gently right around the edges. Get the dirt off the leaves a little, kind of brush it off. And that's it, flatten everything out. There it is, one. One down. I already have a label made. Maybe I'll just put that right there just for show. Voila. Alright, and then I'll continue from there. Put one here. Do one in this corner. Do one in that corner. Then let's do a tomato. Let's start with the Cherokee purple. So, nice flexible trays here, various types of these trays with various degrees of flexibility. Anyway, so this looks like a good one to start with. Get a nice gentle squeeze. You can use a little stick or something to kind of poke out through the bottom. It has holes in the bottom. Gently squeezing, easy does it. Even poke. That's one way to do it. I just picked up a little stick I found. Let's see if that does it. Because I want to keep everything intact. Kind of a little difficult sometimes to get these out, the smaller ones. Squeeze, 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 without letting anything else fall out. Ah, here it comes. These are very squishy too, these cells. But kind of crumbly. That soil is very crumbly. So you'll be gentle. Keep everything intact with all the healthy roots. And where am I going to put that? Over here. Let's do one here. Yes. Tomatoes you can bury a little deeper than most other vegetables. You can pretty much bury them up to their leaves, first set of leaves. They like to be buried deeply, actually. Okay. I mean, say if you had a tomato plant that was even that tall, you could probably bury almost, a foot of the stem underground, and you'll even get stronger roots that way. So now we have Cherokee purple there. I'm going to put one. This one. That looks like a good healthy one. Okay. Tomatoes are a little more resilient, so they can kind of handle a little more, you know, I'm not saying handle them with less gentleness, but they're kind of a little more durable than most vegetables. That's why they're a favorite, I guess. The gardener's favorite. Pretty reliable in general, you know, in the right conditions. But pruning is important. Knowing how to prune your tomatoes, that's another video or tutorial. Generally, the larger the tomato, the more you have to prune it and trellis it. Cherry tomatoes, you can kind of let bush out, sprawl out if you like, if you have the space for it. Okay, so there we have another Cherokee Purple. And I'll just keep going. Wow, that moneymaker looks really good. These moneymakers look really good. I think that's next. Let's put a moneymaker out. These are the jumbo size. I guess they're kind of like a beefsteak, heirloom type. That's right there. Really, you know, in these raised beds, you can kind of push it a little, like in terms of spacing, like closer together, because you have deeper soil and more soil to share, more nutrients for all the plants, so they're not competing as much. As long as you keep them from bumping up against each other too much, you know, or impeding or blocking the sun, or competing for nutrients or hydration, they'll be all right, as long as they're not spreading disease to each other, stuff like that. Some plants do actually are called companion plants, meaning that those actually almost feed each other. Like say putting peas or beans with other vegetables that need nitrogen, because those peas and beans fix nitrogen from the atmosphere and actually put nitrogen into the soil, and nitrogen is actually a great nutrient for healthy plant growth, foliage, stem health and strength. So nitrogen can help with like keeping that great green color, foliage growth, you know, vigorous growth, as well as every other micronutrient. There's probably hundreds of them, maybe even thousands. Macronutrients and micronutrients. Okay, so put out a moneymaker. Now I think I'll put out a golden jubilee. Holding it between my fingers and not grabbing it or anything. It's kind of, I could do this. Oh yeah, like that. Keep everything in the camera in the frame here. Let's do. So these are definitely going to have to be trellised, meaning supported up a post or fence or stake. So I'm going to have to design something, some posts that'll go up, and then I'll tie some strings across or some cord or wire, and then support them as they grow upwards and prune them as they go. So I think that's it for the demonstration on how to plant out your vegetables with the starting vegetables from Seed 101. We put out the cantaloupe, the Hale's Best Jumbo. Let's see that again. These are really prolific. I already have a crop of these growing on that side of the property. I have about 25 of these beautiful cantaloupe, almost ripe and ready to harvest. By the way, today's date is July 29th, I believe, and these plants are about 3.5 weeks old now. they can be anywhere from I guess a couple weeks old, 3 weeks to 8 weeks. You can keep them in pots. That's kind of a general window, that you might have a nursery of plants before you actually put them out. So that's kind of just kind of a window of time to think about. And oh yeah, and then the three others, the purple Cherokee once again, Cherokee purple, golden Jubilee, and Moneymaker. So each of these has about 25 to 30 seeds in them. I used them all up. Each costs about $2 per packet. If that amount was able to make a couple of trays of these, you're basically gonna get maybe half of these seeds are actually going to germinate and become something viable. So if you have 30 seeds, 15 seeds are actually going to become something that's possibly a good, viable, vigorous, healthy plant. So you can kind of count on that probability, 50% success if you're a decent gardener. All right, well that's it. Edible yards, edible neighborhoods, the edible world. This is Cormac. Starting vegetables from seed. We're now at the planting out stage. From pots, up potted cantaloupes, from tomatoes that are in the trays, the 72 cell trays, out into the raised bed, the 4x8 foot raised bed. What's 4x8 square feet? 32 square feet. Yeah, that's 32 square feet to work with, and a lot deep soil. 2 feet deep, right here. Redwood, solid. This is one of the most solid things I've ever made. And it works really well for me. These raised beds is just, phenomenal what you can do with them. All right, people. Get to gardening if you can. When you can. There's no excuse to it, but to do it. All right, peace. Please like and subscribe and all that good stuff. Thanks.